Salam alaikum. I am back because I feel that there is something that I forgot on my channel, and I wanted to put it out there because I really feel a huge change in this year. So Happy New Year's, and now we are in year 2017, which is going to be a very big year. Intuitively, I feel that there's going to be a lot of changes. And one of the things that I have felt strongly about over the past few years is that people are awakening. And indigo consciousness is really not the end-all place of awareness. Indigo consciousness is when you awaken to the lies and you see the truths in the world. You become a truth seeker. And when you read the Quran, you understand what is truth, what are the universal truths within the Quran that relate to all religions. So you are able to connect more to the divine source with your intuition. That's what indigo consciousness is. But we are actually now entering a time where a lot of people are coming into the violet consciousness. And the violet consciousness I have spoke about a little bit. I have been coming into it probably in the last, I would say, 2 years. And it's why I can talk so much about the indigo consciousness is because I was out of it and I was kind of looking from a different perspective of what it meant to me and what my journeys and my experiences were like. And now I am in violet consciousness fully. And violet consciousness is the crown chakra. And the crown chakra is, I'll just read this right here. It's the center for trust, devotion, inspiration, happiness, and positivity. It's a center for deeper connection with ourselves and a deeper connection with a force of life that is greater than ourselves. So this is the part of us that after we learn the truth from having our third eye open, we enter into the crown chakra. And this is the place of your connection to Allah. And I said it in my other video that your brain is your channel to Allah, to understanding, to reasoning, and to, logically and to intuitively understand the signs that are around us. So when you have your crown chakra open, you are more readily connected to the divine, and you are someone that can truly intuitively understand the will of God and understand what it is that you need to be doing as a certain person on earth. So one of the reasons why I feel that this is a very important chakra to talk about and a very important level of consciousness to talk about is because we are entering into a time where we have such diverse levels of consciousness. We have very, very low levels of consciousness, and they are acting out the human drama of war, greed, hate, racism, division. And then you have other people who are awakening to a higher level of consciousness who are like, wait a minute, this stuff is unnecessary. This impedes in our connection to the divine. It stops us from understanding the true reality that is really around us and that we're really here to struggle and search for. So those people that are awakening to understand that there's a higher consciousness are entering into the indigo consciousness and the violet consciousness. And some of you Muslims may be entering into violet consciousness, and I want to advocate this to happen more. And I guess this is why I'm making this video, is so that when we go into this new year of 2017, people can really start to be an expression for this higher state of consciousness, which is the crown chakra. When you are in crown chakra, you are no longer mad about the truth. Okay, you've already realized what the truth is. You understand that there are lies and there are illusions in the world, created by the people that have put themselves in charge, or Allah has put them in charge for a particular reason and a test to their souls. And you understand that this world has that corruption within it. But crown chakra is the consciousness where you can rise above it. So you're not stuck in hate or anger, which a lot of times when you're at indigo consciousness, you can be very angry and you can be very, you can have a set of, kind of a time of depression, basically, of awakening and seeing all this stuff that's happening in the world, and you become very depressed and you become very scared about the way the world is, because you finally see the truth around you. You're like, wow, this is really corrupted, there's a lot of wrong. But the crown chakra is then coming to the realization that even though those corrupted systems are within the world and the people, are at a lower consciousness level and they're acting out all these evil deeds and this human drama, that they are, when you're in violet consciousness, you understand that they are still part of this infinite and this consciousness that the Quran refers to as Allah in the Arabic tongue. But there are many names for this idea. And so when you're in this level of consciousness of this crown chakra, you have compassion in your heart. You have forgiveness in your heart. Yes, there are evil acts and there are evil deeds that people have done, but you realize and you recognize that it comes from somebody who has not awakened yet to their higher consciousness and to their higher parts of their soul. These people are trapped in the physical world, so they think that everything is about, survival of the fittest, and they think everything is about, well, if I don't have something, I better take it. And they also are stuck in their emotional world, in their emotional body. So if anybody harms them, or they feel, that they have to take revenge on somebody, then they kill them. So what we have to realize, and how I believe that we reach a place of peace in the future, is when everybody awakens to the violet consciousness, to the crown chakra, and actually looks out with the eyes of compassion and understanding that those who do evil are really just asleep. They are asleep in the sense that they are in this lower state of awareness, and they have not opened their eyes to the signs of Allah around them. So they kill because they think they lack something, or they hurt others because they think they need to gain something. And when you awaken to your crown chakra, you realize that you have everything already for you inside of you. You don't look for external power, you look for your internal power given to you, born from this divine creator. And so when you are in that state of mind, you really can become a vehicle and a tool for peace, because we know so much in our own personal lives, in stories, in movies, in everyday life, that if you meet anger and hate with love in your heart, if someone comes at you with anger and hate, and obviously they don't have a weapon, so you don't have to defend yourself, but they come at you with words of hate and anger, all you have to do to deflect that and to dilute that anger and that negativity is show them love and understanding. And and they might not get to see it at that point. Maybe they are too asleep yet in their lower states of awareness to really recognize where it comes from. But it will somehow penetrate to them, to their souls, and it will slowly start to awaken them. If it doesn't, that is their own choice, and they can be in denial of their true connection to source if they want to. But those that are truly devoted and in service to Allah and in service to God, you need to start to be a tool for this love and this unity on earth. So I believe how we get towards peace and more of a peaceful coexistence is at any time that we are met with negativity or hate or racism or division, show the wisdom that you understand because you've reached crown chakra consciousness, that you understand where it comes from. Don't belittle. You don't want to ever judge someone for being at a different pace than you in your awakening. It is just where they are, and you just need to recognize it and try to stop yourself from fighting back and going to their level of consciousness and then arguing and fighting back and forth and having conflict. You need to have the wisdom to understand. You understand where they are coming from at a lower state of awareness. They don't quite see the signs from Allah. They don't quite see the connection and the unity that you share. So you need to just kind of leave them maybe with some type of token of understanding or love that you can provide them, and then you back off and you allow them to awaken when the time is right for them. Now, I believe that, we're going to have the betrayal in politics, we're going to have the corruption in religion, we're going to have the greed in the financial institutions, and the military complexes. We are going to have that as humans. I mean, there are just people at the top who are very asleep. They are not spiritually awakened yet to the unity. So they only see separation, and they see, us versus them, and they see that. And what we need to do as the people on the bottom of that pyramid structure, basically, on the bottom, we need to become the awakened ones to say, you know what? You may have this pyramid structure within society, within your mind, and within your understanding of differences, but we are actually all from the same source. We are all one, and we're all under God, and we are all created and born from Adam and Eve. And that is the first cell that we came from, and then we divided. And so we are really, truly all one family. We're one united group of people, and we should treat each other this way. And what I believe happens is that it works very much like osmosis does, that as more and more people awaken and reach this violet consciousness, not just indigo consciousness, because indigo consciousness is where you're expressing the truth, you're out there and you're a warrior to change the old system, you want to banish the old ways because you understand they no longer serve us. But then you become a violet consciousness being where you actually give love to those that don't show you love. But it is okay, because you know in the end that the love that you show those that don't give you love back, it will be returned, and it will come back in another way, and it will penetrate that person in some way. It might not penetrate them on that type of, that particular day, but it will penetrate their soul later on. And this is how we slowly start turning the world into a more peaceful coexistence. When everybody reaches violet consciousness, we will be able to be very different in our looks, different in our language, and we will be very diverse, unique individuals with our own journeys, but we will have a commonality within our spirit and our mind, understanding that we come from the same source. We're only here for a temporary time. Let's live it out in peace and understanding and harmony while we have this particular time. And then, our consciousness moves on to a different state of being, which is the afterlife, and which is either heaven or hell, depending on your choices in life and the way that your consciousness will lead you to either being awakened in blissful states or being still asleep in the hellish realms. So this is very, very important right now, that people start to join those that are awakening to violet consciousness. It's not just about indigo consciousness anymore. And I know I kind of put out the indigo consciousness channel, like, for 2 years, and then it's a sudden, switch. But I have to say, this indigo consciousness has been going on for about, I'd say, 20 years. People have been starting to really waken up and to see the truths before them. So it may be new to you, coming to my channel, but actually it's something that has been going on for a long time. A lot of people talk about, oh, I'm an indigo adult, because they understand that that means somebody who can see there's something wrong with the world, and they are meant and feel like they are on a mission to help change it. They work from changing it from within themselves, and then also extending that action outward. But a violet consciousness person is somebody who understands that there has to be love within those changes. The intention of changing has to come from the power of love and the power of forgiveness and understanding and compassion for others. Because if you're trying to change the system, and if you're trying to change others with a power of hate and anger, you're not going to get the results that you're looking for. So the violet consciousness is working to allow people to understand how to really create permanent change and to really build that understanding within people. And I have faith that if many people awaken to the violet consciousness and to the crown chakra, as it is known, then this is where we will be very effective tools for Allah in order to really change the corruption within these systems that are right now in place, and that are controlling humanity. We actually can be the catalyst for the change, just as Jesus was, as Gandhi, as Buddha, Siddhartha, and Muhammad. All these messengers and prophets and divine creations from Allah coming down to the world to express these messages and to help humanity change, well, they were indigos and then violet consciousness. By the time that they left this earth, they were at violet consciousness. They moved through love. They moved through the understanding that everything is really love, and that creation is an act of love. So if you are working in the flow of creation, everything that you do needs to come from a place of love. Even your protests, and even your disagreements with others, even your fights and your battles that you have against evil that is oppressing you, never ever fight back with hate or anger in your heart. It has to be with love and understanding. So what it looks like is this, is if someone comes at you and attacks you, you need to say, I know that we are, you don't have to say this because this would be weird and probably just make things worse, but in your mind, carry these thoughts. I know that we may seem different right now, but you are connected to me. We are from Allah together. We are united under this creation, and I choose to be a part of that creation that expresses itself in love towards others. So I'm not going to fight with you. I may say my case, something I believe in that's right. Of course, we as individuals should express our truth always and our authentic self, but we should do it out of love, and then we should back off and leave alone and never be the aggressors. Always, always, always try to be the ones that are wise enough to know when it is good to speak to others and to help teach and guide them, and when it is good just to kind of, fall back and let others decide on their own and make their own choices. And that will show trust, that shows love, and that shows support. So we need to start to really come at these conflicts in the world now with a whole new energy. It's just as Einstein said, that we cannot change the state of things within the same consciousness that exists when the mistakes were being made. And it's not the exact quote, but that's definitely what he meant. You know, people make mistakes and they make all these problems in the world within these certain specific levels of consciousness. The only way to change those mistakes and to really better the world and to make sure that we don't make the same mistakes is to come at looking at those problems and those solutions and coming from a higher state of consciousness so that the solution is different. And the solution is more loving, more wiser, and more understanding about what needs to be done. I believe that when we start to fix these solutions, try to fix these problems in the world, and come up with these solutions and fix these problems in the world and these issues in the world with the power of love behind it, that is how we truly will make a change. It is very hard for darkness and evil to stand against love, and when love is being poured at you, and still be hateful towards it is very, very difficult. And it may have the power that we truly need in order to really make a change and to get out of this kind of cycle that we are in within humanity today. So those that are oppressing you, those that are hurting you, those that are attacking you, yes, defend yourself, but do it always with the power of love behind you, understanding that you don't want to hurt anybody, but you are forced to defend yourself if you need to, but that you understand where this action comes from. You love them. You have compassion for them, understanding that they are not awake yet, and something in their life has caused them to slumber longer than you. Whether it be their own pain that they're going through and they just cannot wake themselves up to the truth because it's painful. It's a painful process. A lot of people would rather, not wake up and just keep the light off. Because when you do wake up, it is a little painful at first. But once you get through that pain, you start to feel truly, stronger, and you start to feel really connected to Allah. And at violet consciousness, that is when I feel that you as a human being will feel most connected to Allah, because you then are acting out as the expression of the love and the mercy and the benefits that Allah has bestowed on mankind. And when you become that vehicle for love, unity, mercy, that is bliss. Okay, that is very similar to what you could feel in heaven. So when you reach the violet state, you are going to feel a little bit light. You'll feel a little bit light, like you're kind of floating in a dreamland. You don't quite feel everything is really real. But that will go away, and then you will be very solid in your stance of being a loving person, and you will be someone who is really a warrior for love, and you will see the hate and the problems in the world. Like, we just had that that terrible shooting in the airport yesterday. You'll see all these hateful acts as really just very unasleep, unaware, and traumatic deeds from people that are just really unaware of the light that they come from and the divine that they are connected to. And when you are able to see that, you will have compassion for them. Not pity, because pity comes from a judging place, but compassion, understanding, what, I have been there too. I've had pain. I know what you're feeling. I mean, yes, I did not choose to go grab a gun and shoot people at an airport, but I can understand. I can understand where it could come from and where it can lead you to those actions when you don't control the pain within you, and you are in such anger and such hurt and such denial of the signs around you that you choose to harm others. And when we come at people with compassion and love and understanding, we have a much better chance of getting our messages clearly across, and we will change the world. Those that are at violet consciousness, we will be the catalyst for change, just as Jesus was and all those messengers were that hit that violet consciousness within their society. And I believe that it's not a hidden potential from anybody. It starts with a choice. And it happens after you reach the point of seeing all the lies in the world and realizing the truths, and then starting to realize, what can I do now after knowing all of these truths? How can I be a positive source or a solution to the problems within the world? When you start to ask that question, you will start to reach violet consciousness. I wish you well on your journeys. Please join me into the violet consciousness chakra, and hopefully this gives you some guidance and support for those that are kind of entering it and are like, what is going on with me right now? Because you will start to allow things more readily into your life. You know, you'll start to see, like, you know, evil symbols like the Illuminati or satanic, you know, stars or things like that, symbols, like just shapes. You'll start to see them as just shapes, you know, just geometry. But it is the intention behind within the individual that uses those shapes that really matter. And so you'll start to see things that way. You will never prejudge or generalize. You'll actually see things for their individual merits and worth. And you will not have a fear, because you will feel very connected to the divine, understanding that there is this plan that's been unfolding, and the Quran talks about it. It's this beautiful plan, and our lives are on this beautiful loan to Allah if we are in service and in flow of this plan, not against it. So that can only mean one thing, that we are slowly unfolding towards some kind of beautiful truth. And I believe that many people are awakening to it. So, you know, lots of love on your journey, and just know that you are not alone. Please do more research about violet consciousness and the crown chakra. Try to not see it as something to fear, but actually as something that is really real and part of science and what we understand about frequencies and vibrations and mental thoughts and how their energy. And, you know, if you are an indigo Muslim, now is your chance. Now is your chance to make your decision. Are you ready to move on to the next level of consciousness? Are you ready to move on to the violet consciousness and live out the rest of your life with this type of knowledge, and be able to apply this type of love, forgiveness towards others that wrong you, and to feel so light in the heart, and to understand that you have now become a messenger for Allah, in the sense that you are here to spread love and unity and understanding and brotherhood and sisterhood towards others. And that's a beautiful feeling. And if you're not ready to take that step, that is fine. You know, stay in indigo consciousness. It is a wonderful experience as well, even though it is a little bit harder in terms of struggling with the awakening process. When you get to violet, it is no longer a struggle. It is a blissful experience, and every trial and every struggle is seen as a lesson for you to get to that place of understanding that you are in today. So it is wonderful, and I believe that violet consciousness Muslims will be the ones that will stop the terrorism in the world. So thank you so much for listening, and Salam.